Ungrateful Sadiq Khan has said that his children have described his knighthood as a joke and that he's a sellout and part of the establishment. By God, if only he'd refused it, eh? Hello everyone, this is Andre Walker. Thank you so much for subscribing. Please do subscribe, but more importantly, hit the bell notification icon. It's the only way to absolutely guarantee you get all of my videos as soon as they are released. Well, we all wanted Nigel Farage to be knighted for his backing for Brexit. And of course, remember, Will Straw got a CBE for running the Remain campaign. Although I will say, Will Straw ran it so well. Every time they flagged in the polls, he decided to go meet a new celebrity and get his photo taken with them. It was a real winner, Will. Well done. I think he guaranteed that we left the European Union. But on to Sadiq Khan. Of course, we know that the honours system has got some good points and got some bad points. I personally think it's great to throw in the bigwigs because then it means that ordinary people who get things like MBEs, OBEs and CBEs, then they are part of a more prestigious system. After all, if every single MBE only went to local volunteers, then that wouldn't be that great, would it? But, of course, at the top, there is a battle for who should get the prestigious honours. We think that people like Nigel Farage, and I personally would knight Tommy Robinson. By the way, Stephen Fry got a knighthood, and he's a convicted criminal, so why not Tommy? But anyway, we are now seeing that Sadiq Khan has got this knighthood. He's not received it yet. But on the Comfort Eating podcast, sounds great, eh? He said that his children think it's a joke and think that he's sold out and he's become part of the establishment. It's amazing, isn't it? The way that you can slag off the entire system, the way you can see ordinary people as your enemy, the way you can divide things up, the way you can bring hatred and division to politics and yet nonetheless be rewarded. I personally think that the reason that Sadiq Khan has been knighted is not because people think he's a good bloke, and certainly not because people think he deserves it. It's because those 5 Islamist MPs in Parliament, one of whom defeated Jonathan Ashworth, and that idea that the Labour Party want to bring back the Muslim community to ensure that they keep their vote in future. I think that's the reason he's been knighted. They want to make him the undisputable leader of British Muslims. I have to say, why British Muslims vote for him, I've got absolutely no idea. I mean, if you look in London at the number of people from the Muslim community who are in taxi driving, food delivery, bus driving, that sort of thing, all of those people have been massively disadvantaged by Sadiq Khan. Also, the tax rises have been crippling on people. So what is it about Sadiq Khan? Well, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Most politicians that you meet are, you know, they might be stupid, they might be well-meaning, they might be, but none of them really are trying to do anything other than benefit their community, even when they're wrong and even when they're stupid. Sadiq Khan's different. Sadiq Khan doesn't want to bring people together. Sadiq Khan enjoys hatred. He enjoys division. He enjoys bile. He enjoys that part of politics, which is the fight part, rather than anything else. After all, he is by trade a human rights lawyer, principally acting for members of the Hezbollah Tahrir group, which is, of course, a proscribed terrorist group in the United Kingdom. He, by the way, just a side issue, he represents the guy in Guantanamo Bay who was a French Algerian who'd been arrested in Paris. And the Americans said, well, how did he manage to instruct a company of lawyers in South London? Sadiq said he was unable to answer that for client privilege reasons. He was the go-to lawyer for Hezbollah Tahrir. That doesn't, by the way, make him a member of it, but I would suggest it is a slightly worrying fact. But in terms of what he has done for London, look at the ULEZ charge and what has happened more than anything else. And this is what we have to worry about with our latest local government reorganisation. These local government bodies, including Sadiq Khan, now are just attempting to benefit themselves. And what I mean by benefit themselves is that even though Sadiq Khan knows that his policies are doing significant harm to the economy, what it does do is it gives his organisation more money. Look at the black cab drivers who were talking about before Christmas, the way that Sadiq Khan had deliberately ruined Christmas for them. And what they said was this, and I bet a lot of you will agree with this, that what happens is at Christmas, you know, you take your kids or grandkids out for a special shopping day to somewhere like Hamleys or whatever the local equivalent is. And then you go out and about, you know, buy them a few bits and bobs. get all your bags together, jump in a black cab and take it to the train station, or take it to the car park that you've parked in, wherever. That is part of a lot of people's Christmas experience. Well, now the black cabs can't get around London. It costs an absolute fortune to go anywhere. Therefore, London Christmas has been damaged. And there's no doubt that the high street shops have been significantly undermined in recent years, particularly by people like Sadiq Khan. I always give the example of Greater Manchester, where local councils jacked up the parking charges time after time after time after time, and then the Trafford Centre came along with 7,000 free car parking spaces, and then it's all tears then when there's no shops in the high street. Sadiq Khan has also done damage to the roads by the re-signalling of lights. The whole thing is just a complete mess. But I think, moreover, what we need to think about with Sadiq Khan is, why have we created a system where somebody so full of bile, so full of hatred, so determined to divide? I mean, when he discovered that the people of Bromley were very upset about the ULEZ charge, he lied about how many vehicles would be affected, and then he tried to deliberately wind them up as much as possible. I'll tell you something else about Sadiq Khan. All of the ULEZ non-compliant vehicles that were scrapped were supposed to go to Ukraine. No sign of that yet. He's deliberately delaying the delivery of the vehicles. No friend to this country, Sadiq Khan, or rather, he's no friend to the vision of this country that we believe in. It's really funny, actually. Somebody said Sadiq Khan hates London, he hates Britain. That's not true. He loves London, he's a patriot. But for what sort of London? He sees it as a home for migrants. He sees it as a world destination. He doesn't value Britishness in the sense that we value Britishness. That is his view, and his view is that Britain should be a multicultural, multi-ethnic country for everyone to go to in the world, where there is no particular state morality, there is no particular set of beliefs, and our history is not particularly important. For him, the history of Britain starts with the Windrush, and when we started bringing people from the Caribbean to the UK. All of the stuff that happened before that is irrelevant. This is effectively a fertile piece of land. Now, when you think about it like that, you think, well, that's not dissimilar to what the white people in the United States of America did when they arrived in the United States of America. This idea that there's nothing here already. The indigenous population are of no value. Their customs, their practices are of no interest. We should simply ride roughshod over all of those, because what we are bringing in is better. And I think you see that an awful lot with a multicultural society. So where are we with Sadiq Khan? He's got the knighthood. He's got Nigel Farage's knighthood. He's got Tommy Robinson's knighthood. He personally is willing to enjoy the trappings of all of this, but he's not willing to say anything nice about the system. Of course he had to get the dig in that the knighthood was a joke. Of course he had to get the dig in that his family believed that it's a bit of a waste of time. And I will say one final thing before I go. When the honours system was created, the Order of the British Empire, the idea was it was to open up to lots more people, because there are already things like the Order of the Garter and the Order of the Thistle, but there's only a few members of those and they're incredibly hard to get into. So when they opened up the Order of the British Empire, they decided that they would create a knighthood that wasn't a knighthood. It's called a Companion of Honour. And that was for left-wingers who didn't believe in having a title, but would be elevated to that status anyway. Sadiq Khan could have accepted one of those. Of course he didn't, because what he wanted was, he wanted to be called Sir Sadiq Khan, and he also wanted to be able to slag off the system, to say it's a joke, to say it's establishment, and to say that accepting it was a sellout. Divide and conquer. Until next time, goodbye.